Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and thank you for joining me here this afternoon. Last week, when I updated the public in relation to the outcome of the PwC oxygen plant tender, I began my address by acknowledging the crucial work of investigative journalism in South Africa. I specifically said that it keeps public officials and politicians accountable outside of the normal democratic checks and balances. Since I assumed office as the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, I have been very clear with our staff and our entities that I cannot and will not accept wrongdoing in the department. And where required, I would personally open cases against those accused of criminality, because I must lead from the front when it comes to ensuring we are a capable and ethical-based economic delivery unit in South Africa. At 8 p.m. last night, I met with the board to discuss the events that unfolded in the media that morning. As I said on social media and to the board, watching the video of Ms. Malaka allegedly offering Mr. Myburgh a bribe of 60,000 rand made me sick to my stomach and left me in disbelief. It's one thing to hear about corruption. It's another thing to see it take place so blatantly and with a feeling of impunity. And it doesn't surprise me, are circulating again this morning to try and suggest that Ms. Malaka is a victim of all of this. Fake news articles which were published by outlets and even on the front page of some newspapers, and then they had to retract them once the evidence was put on the table. Anonymous social media accounts and bot networks have been used to spread lies and attack our cleanup efforts. For months, the narrative being pushed by those resisting reform was that I, as the minister, was paying journalists to attack the IDT. Not only was this false, but it turned out to be a projection of what they were doing. They said I was paying journalists. As the allegations published yesterday confirmed, the very individuals implicated in corruption were in fact trying to bribe journalists themselves. It's my considered opinion that this attempt to buy cooperation is not an isolated incident. It quite possibly extends to unimaginable spaces and individuals. And I have urged the SAPS this morning to uncover the full extent to which the tentacles of corruption have reached. Ladies and gentlemen, the allegations now before the SAPS are that Ms. Malaka and the spokesperson were directly or indirectly involved in an attempt to hand over 60,000 rand in cash to Mr. Peter Louis Myburgh to buy his silence. I have also laid numerous charges with the police to investigate, firstly, the attempted bribery of Mr. Myburgh and whether any other journalists were approached or offered similar inducements. And I really do encourage that members of the media, and I know of one who has been approached, to please speak out and also bring that information forward to law enforcement agencies. 2, the funding and coordination of social media campaigns aimed at discrediting myself, Ms. Hill, the IDT and the office that I hold. 3, the role of politically connected individuals and public commentators in amplifying false information to shield wrongdoing and corruption, because that is an accessory to corruption. And 4thly, any other acts of corruption or criminality linked to these attempts to interfere with media freedom and obstruct accountability. Corruption cannot survive without enablers. It survives when individuals in power believe they can manipulate the media, intimidate whistleblowers, and weaponize public opinion to protect their own interests. Let me be clear, these actions are not just about one bribe or 2 individuals. They are about dismantling a culture of impunity that has overtaken parts of the public sector. Ladies and gentlemen, these criminal charges do not exist in a vacuum. They are directly connected to the systematic failures and alleged corruption that we have uncovered in the PwC forensic investigation into the 800 million rand PSA oxygen plant tender, the findings of which I released to the public last week. That investigation exposed companies who were awarded contracts without valid SAFRA licenses, a project that ballooned from 216 million rand to 592 million rand without justification, a company called Bulking being awarded 428 million rand of work despite only qualifying for 200 million rand, missing minutes, irregular procurement and deliberate disregard for National Treasury and IDC policies, as well as the failure of Ms. Malaka and senior SCM officials to act on multiple red flags. And that's what exactly was put to Mr. Myburgh in that video. Give me a contractor and I will make sure that it is awarded to you. There is clearly a network of individuals in the IDT who guarantee outcomes in exchange for cash. The PwC report recommended disciplinary action against Ms. Malaka and Dr. Sisi from SCM and several other senior officials. It has been confirmed that under Ms. Malaka's leadership, the IDT operated without the most basic governance and risk controls. And now we see how that environment of impunity spilled beyond tenders into attempts to manipulate the media and obstruct public accountability. Today's criminal case is the next step in ensuring that consequence management is not just a slogan, but it is a reality in public works. I have also requested the new board to firstly investigate all contracts that were issued under Ms. Malaka's tenure, to trace the flow of funds linked to these contracts, to identify any additional instances of corruption or abuse, and then to take immediate action against anyone who has been found to be complicit. The board's mandate is clear to them: to clean up the IDT, restore its reputation, and rebuild it into a credible partner in delivering social infrastructure like schools, clinics, and police stations across South Africa. I have full confidence in the board and the acting CEO now to dismantle the networks of corruption in the IDT and restore it to an entity that delivers these schools and social infrastructure projects to the communities who need them the most. The board has acted with speed and determination since last Friday, and this week often meeting for long hours to make sense of the unfolding scenarios before them and to keep me updated as the executive authority. I have also requested the SAPS to transfer this case to the Hawks and to treat it with urgency. Media freedom and public trust in government are non-negotiable principles, and I'm under no illusions that those who benefited from corruption will not go quietly. Go look at X right now. They are doing it right now, trying to cover up their tracks. They will attempt to delay, to distract, to deflect, and to threaten us, but they will not succeed. We have the upper hand, and we are winning the war against them. Ladies and gentlemen, to the people of South Africa, I want to say this. I will not look away, and I ask each of you to do the same. Where you see wrongdoing in the public service or an entity, speak up and bring that information to us. From the day I entered office, I took an oath to serve the public, protect the Constitution, and safeguard our precious public resources. This oath does not allow me to tolerate corruption. It does not allow me to make excuses for wrongdoing. And every action we take, whether releasing forensic reports, suspending officials, or opening criminal cases, it is about building a state that is capable, ethical, and trustworthy. Public Works and Infrastructure is a department with immense potential. It can generate income for the state by properly managing our assets, can save billions of rands by reducing wasteful leasing, and it can unlock land for housing, shelters, and food production. And if properly, it can help build the South Africa our people deserve. But that vision can only be realized if corruption is uprooted. I know that many South Africans are disillusioned after seeing that video. I'm sure that you are angry and that you have every right to be angry. You have seen scandals come and go, and often without consequence. So this is not the end of the cleanup at the department. It is another step in our journey to restore integrity, accountability, and to build trust with you, the public. Those who abuse their positions will face consequences. Those who have tried to buy silence will fail. And those who believe that smear campaigns could protect corruption will learn that the truth will always prevail. To journalists, whistleblowers, the public, and honest officials who continue to shine a light on wrongdoing, you have my respect and my gratitude. I will personally shield you from political parties, rogue journalists, and individuals who seek to threaten and intimidate you, because the truth is worth fighting for. To the people of this country, know that this government will not tolerate the theft of public money or your trust. We will continue to act without fear or favor to build a state that truly serves you, no matter the cost. And here I can show you that this is the affidavit that I have deposed against the two officials from the IDT, and I have listed specifically their actions, including bribing Mr. Meyerberg and also a violation of the Public Finance Management Act. And we have set out those specific points, and we can make this available to members of the media as well. Thank you very much. I'll now take questions.
Colleagues, this is a round of questions. Just introduce your name and media house and the question. Sort of here.
From SAPC. Just firstly, has the board indicated how long this disciplinary process is going to take? And secondly, have they indicated the status of Mr. Magolane? Is he still in office or not?
Perfect. Good.
Dean Kevin from the NCA. I just want to check with you. Do you have a bit of insight into the special investigating unit scope of investigation over the IDT, and maybe how many cases they're looking at?
Lindsay Denting, Eyewitness News. It's highly unusual for a minister to come and lay a criminal complaint. Why would you not leave that perhaps to the board?
Cool, let's leave it there for now.
So firstly, as I said, I met with the board at 8 o'clock last night. We discussed the status of Ms. Malaka as the suspended CEO. I also have to respect that there are labour laws and processes that are required for the disciplinary case against her. I think that obviously what has happened as a result of yesterday has amplified the need to ensure that the process is completed as quickly as possible, but to also ensure that it complies with all laws and regulations so that a satisfactory outcome is sought. There are conditions that were attached to her suspension. One of those were that she may not leave Gauteng without permission of the board, and that she may not speak to anyone from the IDT. I think it's safe to assume that those two may have already been violated by her being here the day after with an official from the IDT. But that process is within the board's ambit. I will not interfere in that, and I will respect the board's path that it is taking and their commitment and determination to see a speedy process. Lindsay, let me say this. I think if I didn't take personal responsibility over this issue, I would be missing how angry South Africans are about this. I've been very clear to the officials of the department that if it comes to light that you are involved in criminality, I will personally take you on. That is not something, that responsibility and leadership cannot be outsourced to anyone else. So I have taken the step to be here this morning, this afternoon, and to say that when I say something, I mean it. And it is a warning to anyone who contemplates criminality that it will not just be a function of the department or the board, but they will come up against me as the executive authority entrusted to lead this department. And I think that it would have also missed the anger that South Africans feel, and that they want to see someone leading from the front on this issue. Kevin, I don't have the exact details around that. I can tell you that the Hawks are currently investigating the PwC or the oxygen plant matter. That predates the PwC issue. We have also forwarded the entire PwC report to the Hawks to supplement their work. And again, you know, we respect their space to be able to get to the bottom of this. Because as I said, I'm not convinced that this is just unethical conduct. I think that there is widespread criminality that has been taking place. There's collusion between officials. There's money that changes hands, I think, at a rapid rate around the IDT. And that's why I've come to the conclusion that what happened to Mr. Myburgh is not just an isolated incident. I think that there is probably a number of examples where that takes place. And to so brazenly say, give me a contractor and I will make sure that they are rewarded, speaks to how rotten the supply chain process is in the IDT from start to finish. If you can give guarantees like that, it means that you are working with a number of people.
Cool. Next round of questions. Sorry, over there.
Just a quick one, Minister, and I see you from newsroom. What is the update with the spokesperson of the IDT?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I didn't answer that question. The spokesperson is contracted to the CEO, and it's a strange and peculiar situation that exists where Ms. Malaka has to take action against the CEO. Against the spokesperson. So it is an odd situation. I don't know how that was allowed to take place. But suffice to say that any disciplinary action that takes place against Ms. Malaka will also affect the CEO. And, as the person who, was also party to the incident that we saw, he will also has to, face, criminal questions as well. But the board is trying to work and navigate through that, but it is a complex situation of how it was first established, and obviously that was before my time, but they are working to understand how to apply labour laws to that particular instance.
Minister, can you perhaps tell us about this campaign that you spoke about, the social media campaign? It seems as if you are also personally a target of this campaign, and could you maybe just give us some reasons as to why this happened? I mean, we all know it started with the tender, the oxygen tender, but what are some of the other intricacies that are involved here?
Well, it wasn't just myself, it was my staff, it was Ms. Hill, the chairperson. There were reflections made on my family. There were threats made against my life. And it all came back to this. And one has to ask, what is the interests of people in an entity that they've never met, of an individual that they have never met? Why would they be so invested? Why would political parties be so invested? Why would leaders of political parties be reposting fake WhatsApps to try and allege collusion between myself and journalists? And the only conclusion that I have is that they were most likely in on the act, and that they were beneficiaries of the largesse of cash. Maybe they got more, maybe they got less, maybe they got it in a deal bag or not, I don't know. But it's very clear that these campaigns were funded to try and put me off of the scent, to try and bully Ms. Hill. She was subjected to misogynistic and racist attacks. She was questioned about her education. When we went to Parliament, people attacked her as well. And I think that it's very reminiscent from what we saw under state capture. So it's concerning, and it's concerning that it's still happening right now. If you go online right now, it is happening again. And that's why it was important, Lindsay, for me to come out here to stand up to those bullies and say, you're not going to frighten me and you're not going to put me off. That I will come out here and I will face you and I will personally lay those charges. And you can say whatever you want, but we are committed to getting things right. And that's why the police have to get to the bottom of this. They have to see who else has got money, who else has been paid to be silent and to overlook things and not to ask questions. I think it's critical that they do that as well.
Minister, can you provide us with an update on the lifestyle audit you called for the odd or so 400 employees at the IDT?
The 400 relates to the department. That is currently underway. You will recall that one of the things that the former board, before the new one took over, is that they had agreed to start with the lifestyle audits of the executive of the IDT, and they are still pursuing that and will continue to do so. I'm just worried there might not be many executives left by the time they're finished, but it is something that they are committed to, and as the department we will continue to do that. We've already had 1 or 2 resignations from the department from people who didn't want to commit to it. I think you can understand why that is. But we will follow it through until the end, and every person will have to explain and account for, if they live beyond their means, how that is possible. Because we want a capable and ethical department that delivers for the people of this country.
Just one question. You spoke about the rot in supply chain. Will we be seeing stronger reforms?
Supply chain management in the department is a critical area of focus for us, and it is what the PwC report highlighted, and we want to actually adopt some of their recommendations into the department. And we are also looking at new innovative systems like e-procurement to try and take the human hand out of procurement. But also the reality is that these things, they go both ways. As you have someone in a department who enables wrongdoing in procurement, you also have companies that are prepared to engage in that sort of unethical conduct. And that's why people must raise these issues when they come up, so that we can ensure that there is transparency in everything that we do. But a critical focus of ours. It's very hard to get right, but we are absolutely determined to do so. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
That was